All right, so you're prepping for a laser marking machine operator interview.
Yeah.
Think high-tech, intricate designs, lasers.
Uh-huh.
We're deep diving into RoleCatcher's resources today, their career guides, those sample interview questions to help you absolutely nail this interview.
Sounds good.
Feeling prepared is key.
Definitely. It's a role that blends, technical skills, that sharp eye for detail. And with all the new tech, it's getting even more interesting.
So true, and that's why we're zeroing in on those interview questions today. RoleCatcher gave us a bunch of examples, so we'll walk through how to make your answer stand out.
Great.
But first, a little stage setting. What exactly does a laser marking machine operator do?
So they use lasers, right, to engrave or etch permanent designs onto a whole variety of materials.
Okay.
And that this is used across so many industries: aerospace, automotive, electronics, you name it.
A ton.
Yeah.
Okay, so think about how your own experience in those areas connects to the specific job. If it's relevant, highlight it. Now let's get into those RoleCatcher questions. How about we start with this one? How do you adjust the laser beam intensity for different materials?
That's a good one to kick things off with. Gets right to the core of understanding how lasers interact with different materials, because different materials absorb laser energy at different rates. So adjusting the intensity, that's key to getting a clean, precise mark without damaging the workpiece.
Right, right. So how do you even begin to answer that? Because it sounds pretty technical.
It does sound technical. You want to start by explaining that basic principle, that relationship between intensity and the material, but then make it real.
Okay.
A real example.
Okay.
So maybe you've worked with stainless steel, needs a higher intensity compared to, say, aluminum.
Yeah.
Talk about how you carefully adjusted those settings based on the material, the depth you wanted for the marking.
So you're basically showing them your technical know-how and that you've actually done this stuff.
Exactly. Practical experience.
Perfect. Now, I bet safety's a big deal in these interviews.
Oh, absolutely. Top priority. Lasers can be dangerous if you don't handle them right. So be ready for questions about safety protocols.
Makes sense.
RoleCatcher actually has one. What are the safety protocols you follow when operating a laser marking machine? You'll want to have a good answer ready for that.
Okay, so how do you really knock it out of the park with this answer?
Think about it in layers. You've got your personal protective equipment, right? Safety glasses, gloves. But then there's the environment itself, well ventilated, no clutter.
Right.
And of course, sticking to all those established procedures for running the machine safely.
Like a safety checklist.
Yeah, pretty much.
And speaking of checklists, RoleCatcher's AI, this is cool, it can help you tailor your answers to those safety questions based on the specific company you're interviewing with.
That is cool.
I mean, their AI can analyze that job description, even the company profile, to pick out keywords related to safety and all that.
Exactly. So you're showing them you're not just giving a generic answer. You've actually done your homework on their specific needs.
Exactly. You're speaking their language. Okay, let's move on to a question that really tests how you solve problems on the fly. RoleCatcher has this one. Describe a time you encountered a problem with a laser marking machine and how you resolved it.
Ah, this is a classic.
Yeah.
It's all about how you think things through, how you handle those on-the-spot challenges. They want to see your process.
Right, not just the problem itself.
Right.
So what's the secret to making your answer stand out here?
The STAR method.
Oh, okay, what's that?
It's like a roadmap for your answer. Stands for situation, task, action, result.
Okay.
So start with setting the situation. Describe the problem briefly. Then outline the task. What were you responsible for doing to fix it?
And then the action. Tell them what you did.
Right. Walk them through those steps, how you diagnose the problem, using your technical know-how. Did you check the manual? Test different settings. Be specific. Show them you know what you're doing.
And don't forget the result. How did it all end?
Exactly. How did your actions lead to a good outcome? Fixed the machine. Found a workaround. And on that positive note, showing you can solve problems effectively.
The STAR method, I love it. A framework for these kinds of answers. It's genius. Keeps you focused. Now, I'm curious, where does RoleCatcher's AI come in with these behavioral questions?
It can actually analyze those practice answers you give and give you feedback.
Wow.
Tell you how to make them even stronger. It can spot where you're being too vague or where you could add more detail to really showcase what you can do.
Like having a personal interview coach right in your pocket.
Right there with you.
Amazing. Okay, so we've tackled a few technical questions, a problem-solving one. What's next?
How about we dive into a question that gauges your understanding of the industry as a whole?
Okay.
RoleCatcher includes this one. What are some of the latest trends in laser marking technology?
Now's your chance to show them you really know your stuff.
Right, and you're passionate about it, staying up to date with all the new advancements.
Exactly, and maybe tie those trends back to the company you're interviewing with. Do they specialize in an industry that's being shaped by these trends? Do they use cutting-edge tech you know about? Connect the dots for them.
Yeah, show them you've done your research. So the RoleCatcher Career Guide actually mentions a few trends. Laser marking's being used in more and more industries from, everyday products to medical devices. Then there's the development of even more sophisticated machines, creating super intricate designs. And of course, automation, AI, those are playing bigger roles in laser marking processes.
So it sounds like this field's constantly changing. Exciting, but you got to stay on top of things.
Absolutely. That's where continuous learning comes in. And that's something you can highlight in your answer, too. Talk about any courses, certifications, industry events, anything you've done to keep your skills sharp.
Showing them you're not just complacent, you're always learning and growing. I love that. Okay, let's switch gears to quality control. RoleCatcher suggests this one. How do you ensure the accuracy and quality of your laser markings?
Crucial one. Precision's everything in this field. They want to see that you're meticulous about quality control.
Makes sense.
So, hit those key points. Emphasize that you follow procedures and guidelines, mention double-checking settings, calibrating equipment, using measuring tools, all of that.
And visual inspection, that's a big part of the job, right?
Right, absolutely. Talk about how you carefully examine every piece for imperfections, any deviations from the design. You can even get specific with the techniques, using a magnifying glass, comparing the marking to a digital proof, whatever you do.
Showing that attention to detail.
Sure.
Now, what if you do spot an error? What then?
Then those problem-solving skills come in again.
Right.
Briefly explain how you would troubleshoot the issue, figure out the root cause, take corrective action. Shows you're not just finding errors, you're fixing them and preventing them from happening again.
Great point. We've covered quite a few questions already. I'm really seeing how useful RoleCatcher's AI can be for interview prep.
It really is. Takes away the guesswork, helps you present yourself in the best possible light.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the content of your answers. It can even analyze how you deliver those answers. Things like your pace and tone.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yep.
Okay, let's keep going. What other questions are on our list?
Let's look at one that assesses your ability to work independently, manage your time well.
Okay.
RoleCatcher has this one. Describe a time when you had to prioritize multiple tasks with competing deadlines. How did you manage your time and make sure everything got done on time?
Time management, organization, those are essential in a fast-paced manufacturing environment, right?
Absolutely. So when you pick an example, think about a time when you were juggling lots of responsibilities, dealing with unexpected delays, maybe even working towards those tight production targets.
Right, and then tell them how you prioritized, right?
Exactly. How did you decide what was most urgent? Did you use any tools or techniques?
Uh-huh.
Mention things like to-do lists, scheduling software, maybe breaking big tasks into smaller chunks?
Those are good. And communication, too.
Yes. Did you keep your supervisor informed or your team? Did you proactively ask for help when you needed it? All those things.
Yeah, showing them you're a team player.
Right, showing you can communicate effectively and work with others. And emphasize the positive outcome, of course.
Yeah.
Did you meet all the deadlines? Exceed expectations? Any recognition for being efficient? It's all about painting that picture of you as reliable, organized, someone who can handle pressure.
Love that. And again, don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI, it can analyze your answer here, too. Point out areas you can strengthen, make sure you're highlighting those skills effectively.
Exactly.
It really is amazing, this AI.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. How about adapting to new technologies, new processes?
Yeah, that's crucial in this field. How about this one? The field of laser marking is constantly evolving. How do you stay up to date on the latest advancements and technologies?
Okay, so this is where you show them you're not just content with what you know, you're always looking to learn and grow.
Right. Exactly. So how can you really nail this answer? Well, first off, show them you're genuinely interested in the field. Mention specific industry publications, websites, blogs, whatever you follow.
Okay.
Maybe trade magazines like Industrial Laser Solutions or Laser Focus World or online resources, the Laser Institute of America's website, things like that.
Yeah, showing them where you get your information from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shows them you're actively seeking out knowledge.
Uh-huh. And what about professional development? Any courses or certifications you've gotten?
Absolutely. Highlight those. You could talk about say certifications like Certified Laser Operator or Laser Safety Officer, or those online courses from organizations like the Society of Manufacturing Engineers.
Yeah.
These show you're committed to professional growth. You're willing to invest in those skills.
Right. And don't forget about any internal training you've had, at previous companies, those lunch and learn sessions, cross-training programs, all those things.
Yes, those count too. Shows you're proactive, looking for those opportunities to learn.
Exactly. And here's a tip. To make your answer even better, connect that learning to real-world stuff. Mention how you've used your new knowledge to actually improve your work, solve problems, or try new techniques.
It's about showing that you're not just passively absorbing information. You're applying it.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher's AI, can you believe it, can help here too. It can point out gaps in your knowledge and suggest courses or resources to fill those gaps.
It's amazing.
It's like a personalized learning roadmap. Okay, let's switch gears. How about those problem-solving skills?
Important ones.
This one's a little different from the problem-solving one we talked about earlier. RoleCatcher suggests this. Describe a time when you encountered a problem with a laser marking machine that you couldn't solve on your own. How did you approach the situation?
Okay, interesting. So this one recognizes that even the best operators, they're going to hit a wall sometimes. It's about how you handle that.
Exactly. It's about resourcefulness, teamwork. So how should our listener approach this one?
Start by describing that specific problem you faced. Be clear about what it was, what you saw happening, any troubleshooting you tried. Show them you didn't just give up.
Yeah, you put in the effort.
Right. Then explain who you turned to. Was it a supervisor? A more experienced colleague? The machine's manufacturer. Explain how you communicated that problem, what steps you'd already taken.
So this is also about showing you can ask for help when you need it, right?
Absolutely. And don't forget to mention any specific resources you used, manuals, online forums, technical documentation, shows you're taking initiative.
And of course, tell them how it ended. Were you able to fix it with the help you got?
Right. What did you learn from it? Shows you can grow from those challenges.
Makes sense.
The interviewer wants to see that you're not afraid to reach out for help, that you can work with others, and that you're always learning.
And RoleCatcher's AI can help with this answer too. It can analyze your response, suggest other ways to solve the problem, and give feedback on how you communicate and work with others.
Yeah, it's a powerful tool.
It really is. Okay, let's move on to safety protocols again. Working with lasers, safety's paramount.
Definitely.
RoleCatcher suggests this one. What are the most important safety precautions you take when operating a laser marking machine?
Okay, this is key. They want to see you understand the risks and that you're committed to keeping things safe.
Makes sense. So how can you really impress them with this answer?
Be thorough and specific. Start with those personal protective equipment essentials. Safety glasses for laser work, gloves.
Okay.
Also, mention a clean, organized work area. Clutter can lead to accidents.
Right. Showing that attention to detail again.
Exactly. You could say something like, I always make sure my work area is clear, everything's put away properly, and I regularly check the machine for any signs of wear and tear or damage.
Good one.
You can also talk about ventilation.
Oh, right. The career guide mentioned that laser marking can create fumes, sometimes chemicals too.
Exactly. Highlight that you understand ventilation's important to prevent those fumes from building up. So you might say, I always make sure the ventilation system is working right before I start any laser marking. I also take breaks to avoid too much exposure.
Makes sense.
And of course, mention any safety training or certifications you have. Shows your commitment to safety.
Yeah, great point. And to go beyond the basics, don't just list those standard precautions. Think about specific situations, those potential hazards that might come up, and tell them how you'd handle them.
Exactly. So you could say something like, if I noticed the laser beam wasn't aligned right, I'd immediately stop the machine and check the manual or ask my supervisor for help. That shows you're not just blindly following the rules, you're thinking about potential problems.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, we've covered safety, technical skills, problem solving. What other areas should we explore to help our listener really prep for this interview?
How about teamwork and communication skills? Those are essential in any role, but especially in a manufacturing environment. You need that collaboration and clear communication for things to run smoothly. RoleCatcher gives a good example. Describe a time when you had to work as part of a team to complete a complex laser marking project. What role did you play, and how did you contribute to the team's success? This gives you the chance to showcase those interpersonal skills, your ability to work with others, and your understanding of how important teamwork is. #TTS The Deep Dive Episode 2024-1024. part 2 of 3.
It really is all about teamwork. Crucial in so many roles, but especially in manufacturing. You need that collaboration, that clear communication for things to run smoothly and safely.
And RoleCatcher, I think they hit the nail on the head with this sample question. Describe a time when you had to work as part of a team to complete a complex laser marking project. What role did you play, and how did you contribute to the team's success? It really lets you show off those interpersonal skills, how well you can work with others. Exactly. When you're answering this one, pick a situation that really highlights those teamwork skills, how you effectively collaborated. Think about projects where you were working alongside other operators, engineers, designers, or maybe a time when you had to troubleshoot a problem as a team.
So set the scene first. What was the project, and what were the team's goals? Then you can explain your specific role, the tasks you were handling.
And don't forget to highlight what you contributed to the team's success. Did you share your expertise, offer support to team members who were struggling, take the initiative to improve communication or streamline things?
Yeah, showing them you're a team player, someone who can contribute positively to that collaborative environment.
Precisely. And talk about the outcome. Did the team achieve its goals? Any lessons learned that you could apply to future teamwork? The interviewer wants to see that you can work well with others, that you understand good communication, mutual respect, shared responsibility. All those things are important for success.
And again, RoleCatcher's AI can help you craft that compelling answer. It can analyze your response, point out areas to improve those teamwork and communication skills. It can even give you strategies for collaborating better, emphasizing active listening, constructive feedback, and help you articulate your contributions more effectively.
It's like having a virtual teamwork coach right there with you, helping you become a more effective team member. Now, let's shift gears. How about adapting to changing priorities, handling those unexpected challenges? That's valuable in any job, but even more so in a fast-paced manufacturing environment where things are constantly changing and problems pop up out of nowhere.
This RoleCatcher question, I think it's spot on. Describe a time when you had to adjust to a sudden change in priorities or deal with an unexpected problem while working on a laser marking project. How did you handle the situation? This really lets you show off that flexibility, problem-solving skills, and how you stay calm and focused when things get tough.
It's a fantastic chance to show you can think on your feet and adapt. When you're answering, pick an example where you had to switch gears quickly. Maybe dealing with a machine malfunction or a sudden design change. Describe the situation, the challenges.
And then walk them through how you handled it. How did you approach the situation? Reprioritize tasks. Ask for help. Use any specific problem-solving techniques. It's all about showing them you can adapt and think critically when things don't go as planned.
And highlight how you stayed calm, focused, even under pressure. Did you communicate clearly, maintain a positive attitude, come up with creative solutions? They want to see that you don't get rattled easily, that you can adapt to changing circumstances. They also want to see that you're a problem solver, someone who can think on their feet and find those solutions even when it's tough.
And RoleCatcher's AI can be a real asset here too. It can analyze your response, identify ways to make it stronger, suggest strategies for being more flexible, highlight the importance of communication and collaboration, and give feedback on your problem-solving approach.
It's like having a virtual resilience coach right there in your corner, helping you develop the skills and mindset to thrive in that dynamic, ever-changing workplace. Okay, let's take a break from specific questions for a moment and talk about a more general interview tip that can really make you stand out.
Okay, I'm all ears. What do you have in mind?
It's all about asking insightful questions at the end of the interview. Asking thoughtful questions shows you're engaged, curious, genuinely interested. It also lets you gather valuable information about the company, the team, the role.
I totally agree. It's your chance to show you've done your research, that you're really interested in the position, but what kind of questions should you ask?
Avoid those questions that a quick Google search could answer. Focus on things that show you understand the industry, the company's goals, those specific challenges and opportunities of the role.
So instead of asking about their history, which you can easily find on their website, you could ask, what are some of the company's key initiatives in the laser marking field? Or, how does the company foster a culture of safety and continuous improvement?
Those are great examples, and don't shy away from asking the interviewer about their own experience, either in the field or with the company. People love to talk about themselves, and it shows you're genuinely interested in their perspective.
And it's not just about the questions themselves, it's about how you ask them. Be engaged, make eye contact, show genuine interest in those answers. Don't hesitate to ask follow-up questions if something piques your interest. The more engaged you are, the more memorable you'll be.
And RoleCatcher's AI, it can be a big help here too. It can help you come up with relevant and insightful questions tailored to that specific job and company you're interviewing with. It's like having a personal interview coach whispering those winning questions in your ear. Now let's switch gears and focus on a question that assesses your communication and interpersonal skills. These are essential in any role that involves working with a team, interacting with clients, providing training, or guidance.
RoleCatcher has a good one. Describe a situation where you had to explain a complex technical concept to someone who is not familiar with laser marking technology. How did you ensure that they understood the information? This really tests your ability to simplify complex ideas and adapt your communication style.
It's crucial in a field like laser marking, full of specialized terms and technical processes. Being able to explain things clearly so anyone can understand is so important. When answering this question, pick a time when you had to communicate effectively with a non-technical audience. Maybe training a new employee, explaining something to a client, or even helping a friend or family member grasp a technical concept.
So walk the interviewer through your process. Did you use analogies or metaphors to make it simpler? Visuals or diagrams to illustrate your points? Did you check for understanding, answer any questions they had, highlight that you're patient, you can adapt your style to different people, and you're committed to making sure everyone's on the same page?
And don't forget about the outcome. Did the person you were explaining this to actually understand? Did they appreciate your clear explanation? It's about showcasing your ability to communicate effectively and make sure your message gets through.
And as always, RoleCatcher's AI can help you here. Their AI-powered practice tool can analyze your response, offer suggestions for improving those communication skills, maybe recommend simpler language, more visuals, specific examples. It's like having a communication expert right there, helping you refine your message and deliver it with impact. Now, let's shift gears again. Focus on a question about adapting to new technologies, new processes. That's crucial in any field, but especially one as dynamic as laser marking, where new innovations are constantly popping up.
This is a classic one from RoleCatcher. The field of laser marking is constantly evolving. How do you stay up to date on the latest advancements in technologies? This one's testing your commitment to continuous learning, your willingness to embrace change. It's particularly important in a field driven by technology like this one, where there are always new developments.
This is where you show them you're passionate about keeping your skills current and growing. What's the best way to approach this question?
Start by showing genuine interest in the field. Talk about specific industry publications, websites, blogs you follow. Maybe you subscribe to magazines like Industrial Laser Solutions, Laser Focus World, or you check out online resources like the Laser Institute of America website. Sharing those sources shows you're actively seeking out information, staying in the loop.
What about professional development opportunities? Any relevant courses, certifications you've earned?
Highlight those too. Certifications like Certified Laser Operator, Laser Safety Officer, online courses from organizations like the Society of Manufacturing Engineers. Those credentials show you're committed to professional growth, willing to invest in your skills.
And don't forget about those internal training programs or knowledge-sharing initiatives from previous jobs. Lunch and learn sessions, cross-training programs, those all count.
Absolutely. It shows you're proactive, you value continuous improvement. Here's a tip. Connect that learning to the real world. Explain how you've used your new knowledge to improve your work, solve problems, introduce new techniques. You could say something like, at my last company, I took full advantage of the internal training to learn about the latest advancements in fiber laser technology. I also went to industry conferences, networked, and learned about emerging trends.
That's a fantastic example. It's not just passive learning. You're applying it, making a difference.
Yeah.
Shows initiative, the ability to contribute to a company's success.
Exactly. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can be really helpful here. It can identify those knowledge gaps you might have and suggest courses or resources to fill them. It's like a customized roadmap for staying at the forefront of your field. Now, let's shift gears again. Let's talk problem solving. This is crucial, especially when you're working with complex machinery and dealing with technical issues.
This RoleCatcher question is perfect. Describe a time when you encountered a problem with a laser marking machine that you couldn't solve on your own. How did you approach the situation? This one's different, right? It acknowledges that even the most experienced operators run into problems they can't fix alone. It gives you a chance to showcase your resourcefulness, teamwork, how you solve problems.
It's a great opportunity to show you're a collaborative problem solver. When you answer this one, clearly describe the problem, the steps you took, and why they didn't work. It shows you don't give up easily, that you put in the effort before asking for help.
That's a great point. And then you walk them through who you reached out to for help. Was it a supervisor? A more experienced colleague? The machine's manufacturer? Explain how you communicated the problem clearly and the steps you'd already tried. It highlights those communication skills, your ability to work with others.
Don't forget to mention specific resources you consulted, manuals, online forums, technical documentation. It shows you're taking initiative, you're willing to go the extra mile.
And lastly, talk about what happened. Were you able to fix it with that help? What did you learn from the experience? It's about demonstrating that you're proactive. You can learn and grow from those challenges.
Exactly. They want to see you're not afraid to ask for help, that you can collaborate effectively, and you're always learning. Okay, now onto a question about safety protocols. Working with these machines requires a real commitment to safety, protecting both yourself and others.
RoleCatcher suggests this question. What are the most important safety precautions you take when operating a laser marking machine? This is key because it shows you understand those potential hazards and that you're dedicated to a safe working environment.
When you answer this one, be specific, be thorough. Start by talking about the importance of that personal protective equipment, those safety glasses designed for laser work, gloves to protect your hands. Also, emphasize a clean and organized workspace. Clutter can lead to accidents.
Right. That attention to detail again.
Exactly. You could say something like, I always make sure the ventilation system is running properly before I start any work, and I take breaks regularly to avoid overexposure to fumes.
Good point. And don't forget to mention any safety training or certifications you have. It really showcases your commitment to safety.
Absolutely. If you've had specialized training or certifications, make sure to mention them. Now, here's a tip to really make your answer stand out. Go beyond just listing basic precautions. Think about specific situations, potential hazards that might come up, and explain how you would handle them.
So show them you're not just following rules blindly. You're thinking about those risks and taking steps to prevent accidents.
Exactly. You could say something like, if I noticed the laser beam wasn't aligned properly, I would immediately stop the machine and consult the manual or contact a supervisor. It shows you're using your judgment, taking action to prevent those accidents.
That's a great way to demonstrate that you're safety conscious and you take your responsibility seriously. Now let's dive into questions about the different types of materials you've worked with.
RoleCatcher suggests starting with, what are the different types of materials you have experience working with in laser marking? This gives you a chance to highlight the breadth of your experience, showcase your knowledge of all those materials commonly used.
Okay, so what are some materials you could mention?
You could talk about metals, stainless steel, aluminum, titanium, brass. Each of these metals has unique properties that require specific laser settings, different approaches. You could also mention plastics, ceramics, even wood. These materials are becoming more popular for laser marking, too.
It's a chance to show you're versatile, you can adapt to different material requirements. And if you've worked with any specialized materials, especially if they're relevant to the job, definitely mention those, too.
Exactly. The more tailored your answer, the more impact it will have. Now, let's move on to a question about the laser marking process itself. RoleCatcher has this one. Explain the process of setting up and operating a laser marking machine. This one assesses your technical knowledge and how well you can explain a complex process.
This is your chance to show your hands-on experience, your familiarity with the equipment. So how should you tackle this question?
Start by outlining the general steps for setting up a laser marking machine. Things like selecting the right lens, calibrating the laser, setting the focal point. Then walk them through how you create and load a design file. Adjust those laser parameters based on the material and the desired marking depth.
And don't forget those quality control checks you do throughout the process. It shows attention to detail, that you're committed to producing top-notch work.
You could say, I always double-check the design file for accuracy, and I run tests on scrap material to fine-tune those settings and make sure the marking is consistent.
Those are great examples.
Yeah.
And the key here is to be clear and concise in your explanation. Simple language, avoid getting too technical.
And if you can, relate it back to specific examples from your experience. That'll bring your answer to life. Now, let's move on to troubleshooting. RoleCatcher suggests this one. What are some common problems you've encountered while operating a laser marking machine, and how did you resolve them?
Okay, this is similar to that question about problems you couldn't solve alone, but this time it's about common issues that you fixed on your own. It's a chance to show off your technical expertise, your problem-solving skills, and your ability to work independently.
Exactly. Pick a few examples of common problems, like issues with laser alignment, focus, power settings, or maybe inconsistencies with materials. Walk them through how you diagnosed and solved each problem, highlighting the technical knowledge and skills you used.
So, for example, you could say, one common problem I've seen is laser beam drift. To fix that, I usually check the alignment of the mirrors and adjust them as needed. I also make sure the laser is cooled properly and that the work area isn't vibrating.
Those are great points. And be specific about the tools and techniques you used. Did you use a laser alignment tool? Consult the manual. Refer to online resources. Those details show you're resourceful.
Right. And RoleCatcher's AI can help you fine-tune your answer, make sure you're highlighting the most relevant skills and experience, and using the correct industry terminology. Now, let's talk about laser safety procedures, going beyond those basic precautions we've already covered.
RoleCatcher suggests this question. What are the potential hazards associated with laser marking, and how do you mitigate those risks? This one goes deeper than just listing safety protocols. They want to see you understand the safety principles and how you actively manage potential hazards.
It's your chance to show that you're serious about creating a safe workplace. What are some key points to cover?
Start by explaining those different laser hazards. Direct beam exposure, reflections, diffuse reflections. You can mention non-beam hazards too, like fumes, gases, and fire risks. Then, for each hazard, describe how you would reduce the risk. Things like using beam enclosures, proper eye protection, good ventilation.
Don't forget to mention any safety procedures or protocols you follow. Regular safety inspections, keeping your work area clean and organized, reporting any potential hazards to your supervisor.
All important. And the more specific and detailed you are, the more confident you'll sound. Now, let's look at a question about working independently and managing your time.
RoleCatcher suggests, describe a time when you had to manage multiple tasks with competing deadlines. How did you prioritize your work and ensure that all tasks were completed on time? This is a common question. It really explores those organizational and time management skills, how you handle pressure.
It's a great way to show you can work efficiently and meet those deadlines. Pick an example that shows your ability to prioritize, manage time well, and deliver results even when things are stressful.
So start by describing the situation, the tasks you were responsible for. Then walk them through your process for prioritizing. Did you use a to-do list? Break down big tasks into smaller ones. Delegate.
And emphasize your communication skills. Did you keep your supervisor or team updated on your progress? Did you proactively ask for help when you needed it? Those are all part of good time management and teamwork.
And don't forget the outcome. Did you meet all the deadlines? Exceed expectations? Get recognized for your efficiency? The goal is to present yourself as someone who's reliable, organized, can handle pressure, and get things done.
Exactly. And as always, RoleCatcher's AI can analyze your response, see if there are any areas you can strengthen. It can give you feedback on your methods, your time management techniques, and your communication.
Now let's look at a question that focuses on your attention to detail and your commitment to quality. RoleCatcher suggests this one. How do you ensure the accuracy and quality of your laser markings? In this field, precision is everything. Even a tiny error can mean a defective product.
Absolutely. When you're answering this one, start by emphasizing how important it is to follow those established procedures, those guidelines, double-checking those design files, calibrating the laser, using measuring tools to verify accuracy.
And don't forget visual inspection. Laser marking machine operators often have to inspect each workpiece really carefully to make sure the marking is consistent.
You could say something like, I always use a magnifying glass to check the markings for any imperfections or inconsistencies. I also compare the finished product to the design file, make sure it matches those tolerances.
Those are great points. What if you do find an error? What do you do then?
Explain your process for troubleshooting and fixing those errors, maybe adjusting laser settings, cleaning the lens, recalibrating the machine. It's about showing that you don't just find the errors, you take action to correct them and prevent them from happening again.
And as always, RoleCatcher's AI can help you analyze that response, make sure you're highlighting the right things. It can give you feedback on your quality control procedures, your troubleshooting methods, your whole approach to making sure things are accurate.
Now let's move on to a question about laser marking software and working with those different file formats.
RoleCatcher suggests this one. What types of laser marking software are you familiar with, and what file formats have you worked with? This is becoming more and more important as the technology advances.
It's your chance to show off those technical skills, how familiar you are with those industry standard programs. When you answer, mention the specific software you've used, the file formats you're comfortable working with. Some of the common ones are EasyCAD, LaserCAD, CorelDRAW.
And if you know any specialized software, maybe something relevant to that specific industry or application, definitely mention those too.
You could say something like, I'm proficient with EasyCAD and have a lot of experience working with DXF, PLT, and AI files. I've also used software specifically for creating barcodes and data matrix codes.
Those are great examples. Be specific, provide details.
Yeah.
Don't just say you're familiar, explain how you've used it, your level of skill.
And if you've got any courses or certifications in specific software, definitely mention those. It really demonstrates your dedication to professional development, shows that you're staying current.
Okay, let's shift gears again and focus on how laser marking is used in different industries.
RoleCatcher has this one. What are some of the different industries where laser marking is used, and what are some specific applications you're familiar with? It's testing your broader knowledge of the technology and encouraging you to think beyond the specific job you're applying for.
This is your chance to show you're interested in the bigger picture of laser marking, that you're aware of the different ways it's used to improve products and processes. What are some industries and applications you could talk about?
You could talk about the automotive industry, where laser marking is used for part identification, traceability, branding. You could also talk about aerospace, where it's used to mark really important components like engine parts and turbine blades. And then there's medical devices, electronics, consumer goods. Laser marking is used everywhere.
Give them specific examples. You could say, in the medical device industry, I've used laser marking to create those unique identification codes on implants and surgical instruments. And in electronics, I've used it to mark circuit boards and microchips.
Exactly. It's all about showing you understand those diverse applications, how it adds value across industries.
Okay, now let's talk about the different types of lasers used in marking.
RoleCatcher suggests this question. What are the different types of lasers used in marking, and what are their advantages and disadvantages? This one's testing your technical knowledge, your ability to compare and contrast different laser types.
It's a great opportunity to showcase your understanding of the nuances of the technology and how different types of lasers are suited for different tasks. What are some types you could mention?
Start with the two most common types, CO2 lasers and fiber lasers. CO2 lasers are really versatile. They can mark a wide range of materials, plastics, wood, leather, but they're not as efficient as fiber lasers, and they require more maintenance.
What about fiber lasers?
Fiber lasers are becoming really popular because they're more efficient, compact, and have a longer lifespan. They're also very precise, can create high-quality markings on a variety of materials like metals, plastics, and ceramics.
Great points. Yeah. Don't forget to mention other types of lasers too, the more specialized ones, like vanadate lasers or green lasers. Explain those unique characteristics and the applications where they excel.
And as always, RoleCatcher's AI can be helpful here. It can analyze your response, make sure you're giving accurate and relevant information, and it can suggest other laser types or applications you might not have considered.
Now, let's talk about laser safety standards and regulations.
RoleCatcher suggests, what are some of the key laser safety standards and regulations that you're familiar with? This one's important for demonstrating your commitment to safety and your understanding of the legal stuff.
It's also a chance to show that you're up to date on those industry standards and that you take compliance seriously. What are some key standards and regulations you could mention?
You could start with the ANSI Z136 series, the laser safety standards. These cover a wide range of topics, from laser classification to control measures and safety training. You can also mention OSHA regulations on laser safety, like the requirement for a laser safety officer in places that use Class 3B or Class 4 lasers.
And if you're familiar with any international standards like the IEC 6082A5 series, make sure to mention those too.
Remember, it's about showing them, the relevant safety standards and regulations and how to apply them in the real world.
Now, let's talk about working with precision, maintaining those tight tolerances.
RoleCatcher suggests this question. How do you ensure that your laser markings meet the required tolerances? Precision is key. Even a small deviation can mean a defective product.
It's your time to shine. Show off your attention to detail, your meticulous approach, and your ability to consistently produce high-quality results. How do you recommend answering this one?
Start by explaining the importance of using those precise measuring tools, like calipers and micrometers, to check the dimensions of the markings. Also, mention how important it is to calibrate the laser marking machine regularly.
And don't forget any quality control procedures you follow, things like first article inspections, statistical process control, anything you use to monitor the consistency of those markings.
You could say, I always measure the first few markings to make sure they meet the tolerances. I also use a check fixture to verify the workpiece is positioned correctly so the marking's in the right place.
Great examples. The key is to show your commitment to precision and your ability to consistently meet those specs.
Now let's explore your experience with different types of laser marking machines.
RoleCatcher has this question. What types of laser marking machines have you operated, and what are their key features and capabilities? This one lets you show off how much experience you have, how familiar you are with different equipment. It's also a chance to demonstrate your understanding of the strengths and weaknesses of those different machines.
When you answer, mention specific brands and models you've worked with, as well as their key features, things like laser type, power output, marking area, software compatibility.
And if you have experience with any specialized machines, like those for 3D marking or micromachining, highlight that too.
You could say, I've worked with a range of laser marking machines, including Trolltech Speedy, Epilog Fusion, and Universal Laser Systems. I'm familiar with both CO2 and fiber laser systems, and I've used machines with marking areas from a few inches to several feet.
Those are great examples. The key is to show your knowledge of different machines and explain how you've used them in different situations. Now let's talk about the different laser marking techniques.
RoleCatcher suggests, what are some of the different laser marking techniques you're familiar with, and what are their advantages and disadvantages? This one's about showing you understand those various techniques and that you can choose the right one for the job.
It's your chance to showcase that technical expertise, your ability to adapt to different marking requirements. What are some techniques you could mention?
You could start by discussing the most common ones, like annealing, engraving, and ablation. Annealing uses heat to change the color of the material, creating a permanent mark without removing anything.
What about engraving?
Engraving uses the laser to remove material from the surface, creating a recessed mark. It's often used for deep, permanent markings on metals and hard materials.
And ablation?
Ablation uses the laser to vaporize material from the surface, creating a shallow, high-contrast mark. This one's often used on plastics, ceramics, other sensitive materials.
Great examples. Don't forget to mention any other laser marking techniques you're familiar with, like color marking, microstructuring, surface texturing. Explain those special characteristics, the situations where they work best.
And as always, RoleCatcher's AI can check your answer, make sure it's accurate and relevant. It can even suggest other techniques or applications you might not have thought of.
Now let's talk about laser marking maintenance and troubleshooting.
RoleCatcher suggests, what are some common maintenance tasks for laser marking machines, and how do you troubleshoot common problems? This one's important because it shows you understand how important maintenance is for keeping the equipment running smoothly. It also shows you can diagnose and fix those common issues.
It's your chance to showcase those practical skills. What maintenance tasks and troubleshooting tips could you mention?
You could start by talking about regularly cleaning the lens, mirrors, and other optical components of the machine. You can also mention checking and replacing those consumable items like the laser tube, the assist gas supply.
And for troubleshooting.
You could talk about problems like laser misalignment, focus issues, power fluctuations. Explain the steps you take to figure out what's wrong and fix those issues, using alignment tools, adjusting the focus lens, checking the power supply, things like that.
Great examples. The key is to show you know how to do that maintenance, how to troubleshoot those problems, and how to keep that equipment running smoothly and efficiently.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can help you here too, making sure your answer is accurate and relevant. It can also suggest other maintenance tasks or troubleshooting tips you haven't thought of.
Now, let's talk about laser safety training and training others on safe operating procedures.
RoleCatcher suggests this question. Have you ever provided laser safety training to others? If so, what topics did you cover, and how did you ensure the trainees understood the material? This one's about those leadership skills, how well you can communicate complex information, and your commitment to safety.
It's a great chance to showcase your training experience, your ability to create a safe working environment. What's the best way to approach this?
If you've provided laser safety training before, start by outlining the topics you covered, things like laser hazards, control measures, personal protective equipment, emergency procedures. Then explain the methods you used for the training, whether it was lectures, demonstrations, hands-on exercises.
And highlight how you made sure everyone understood quizzes, tests, Opportunities for questions and discussion. Did you observe them to make sure they were following those procedures?
Exactly. All great points. Now let's talk about your experience working with different types of laser marking systems.
RoleCatcher has this one. What experience do you have with different laser marking systems, such as galvanometer-based systems, XY tables, and hybrid systems? This allows you to demonstrate your understanding of those different systems, their strengths, and when to use them.
So when you're answering this one, talk about the specific systems you've worked with. Describe their key features and how those features are suited for different applications.
What are some things you could mention?
You could talk about galvanometer-based systems, which are known for their speed and precision. They're great for those high-speed marking applications, things like marking parts on a conveyor belt.
Okay. What about XY tables?
XY tables are those more versatile systems, good for marking larger parts or parts that need to be precisely positioned. They're often used for things like engraving plaques or creating custom designs on products.
And hybrid systems?
Hybrid systems combine those features of both galvanometer-based and XY table systems. They offer the best of both worlds: speed, precision, and versatility.
It's about showing you understand how those different systems work and when to use each one. Now let's look at a question about continuous improvement, something that's important in any manufacturing environment.
RoleCatcher suggests, describe a time when you identified an opportunity for improvement in a laser marking process. What steps did you take to implement that improvement? This one's all about showing you're proactive. You're looking for ways to make things better.
It's a chance to show you're not just following instructions. You're thinking critically about those processes and coming up with solutions. What's a good way to approach this question?
Pick an example that demonstrates your problem-solving skills, your ability to think outside the box, and your commitment to improving efficiency or quality. Start by describing the problem or opportunity for improvement that you spotted.
And then walk them through the steps you took.
Right. Did you analyze the current process? Did you brainstorm solutions? Did you test different approaches?
Be sure to mention who you collaborated with. Did you involve your supervisor or team members? Did you seek input from other departments?
And don't forget about the outcome. What were the results of your improvement efforts? Did you increase efficiency? Did you improve quality? Did you save the company time or money?
It's all about showing them that you can make a real difference.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher's AI can help you with this one too by providing feedback on your approach to continuous improvement and suggesting areas for improvement in your answer.
Hashtag TTS, the Deep Dive, episode 2024-1024, part 3 of 3.
It really is amazing what AI can do these days.
It is. Okay, so we've prepped you on a ton of those potential interview questions, those technical aspects, safety protocols, and of course how RoleCatcher's AI can give you that extra edge. But before you walk into that interview, let's talk strategy.
Yeah, good idea.
It's not just about answering questions, right? It's about presenting yourself as a skilled and passionate laser marking machine operator. It's about telling your story.
Absolutely. It's about connecting all those dots.
So how can our listener make sure their story really shines through in the interview?
One really powerful technique is the STAR method. It stands for Situation, Task, Action, Result. It helps you structure your answers in a way that really showcases your abilities in action.
Okay, I like it. Can you give us an example? How does the STAR method work in practice?
Let's say they ask you about a time you solved a problem on the job. Instead of just describing the problem, use STAR to paint a more vivid picture.
Okay, walk me through it.
So, first, set the situation. Briefly describe the scene. Maybe you were working on a rush order for a really important client. Then outline the task. What was your specific responsibility? Were you programming the laser for a super intricate engraving? Were you troubleshooting a machine malfunction?
Okay, sets the stage, right?
Exactly. And then the action, this is where you shine. Describe those steps you took, highlighting your skills. Maybe you noticed the laser wasn't etching deep enough. So you double-checked those material specs, you recalibrated the power settings, you figured out a solution, whatever it was.
So you're really walking them through it step by step.
Yeah, you're showing, not just telling.
Okay. And then the result, right?
Exactly. What was the positive outcome because of what you did? Did you get that engraving perfect while still meeting the deadline? Did you fix the machine and save the day, preventing production delays? End your story with a clear resolution that shows you're someone who gets things done.
I love the STAR method. It's such a clear framework for crafting those answers, making them more memorable.
And it works for so many types of questions, not just problem solving. Teamwork, adapting to change, even those safety procedures. Think about how your actions led to that good outcome.
Besides structuring those answers well, what's another way our listener can make a strong impression in that interview?
Let your passion shine through.
Okay.
Enthusiasm is contagious, and interviewers love to see candidates who are genuinely excited about the work.
I agree, but how do you show that passion without overdoing it?
It's about finding those moments to connect with the interviewer on a deeper level. Let's say they ask you about your experience with different types of lasers. Don't just rattle off the list. Talk about what fascinates you about fiber lasers versus CO2 lasers. Mention how you're eager to learn even more about new technologies.
It's about going beyond just listing skills and experience. It's about showing them you're genuinely interested, eager to learn and grow in the field.
Exactly. And those nonverbal cues matter too. Confident posture, a firm handshake, good eye contact. Those things make a difference.
Great tips. Before we wrap up, I want to circle back to RoleCatcher one last time. We've talked about their AI interview practice, but they have so many other resources that can be super helpful for your preparation.
They really do. Those career guides are packed with information about different roles, industry trends, salary expectations. It's a fantastic way to get a deeper understanding of what's out there, what employers are looking for.
And their AI resume builder, too. It can help you tailor your resume to the specific job, really highlighting those skills and experience that are most relevant.
It's like having a personal career coach right in your pocket, helping you every step of the way.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. As we wrap up this deep dive on preparing for a laser marking machine operator interview, what's the key takeaway for our listener?
You've got the knowledge, the skills, and now the resources to succeed. Prepare thoroughly, practice those answers, and most importantly, let your passion shine through. And remember, RoleCatcher, use those tools, that career guidance. They can really make a difference.
And most importantly, go into that interview feeling confident. You got this. Good luck out there.